What's up, guys? WoT the Fell-Handed here, bringing you another edition of MapQuest. Here we are on Mines Standard Battle Rain in the Batchat 25T French Tier 10 medium tank. The greens have spawned on the southeast side of the board. The reds have spawned on the northwest side of the board. Now, if you are in a medium tank, the Batchat specifically, there are two schools of thought. One, obviously, take the top of the hill, the high ground, give you sight, elevation, so on and so forth, so you can make LOS. You know, you have a lot of LOS to the guys over there, say A3. Posted up in the corner, camping, if you will. The other school of thought, in my humble opinion, is going to where I'm currently headed in the corner here and just kind of locking this area down. If you go right, it just seems like you get caught up too easy. So we've got some easy shots here on a Death Star. We're going to try to burn him early on in the game. We're just waiting on the gun to get loaded. And, you know, we're going for the tracks. We're trying to track him. It looks like we were successful there. We're putting a few rounds in him. He's not exactly sure where we're at. We're going to go ahead and put another one back there for good measure. And we end up connecting and tracking. Now, of course, the downside is we only do carry 5 rounds in the magazine. So we couldn't really continue to fire. I'm a little paranoid right now at this time that someone's just going to send a random blind shot through that little area where I like to poke and end up taking me out. Now, you also have to be very careful, very cautious on this board. This board is not extremely large. This is not a large board or a map, if you will. Do not confuse this with Dragon Ridge. Dragon Ridge, you know, that's synonymous with a massive map. I kind of made a fumble there. It was an easy shot. Somehow I messed it up. You're going to have those. It's not a big deal. You know, you've always got more rounds. At least, of course, till you run out. And, you know, it's the same thing if you know, had a single fire tank. You know, sometimes you're going to fire and you're purposely going to miss. Or it's going to look like you purposely missed. And, you know, sometimes you're going to fire an RNG's. Going to make you miss. So, it is what it is. Now, we're making extremely good use of this cover. And guys, you know, if you have the opportunity, you always want to be behind hard cover instead of soft cover. The difference is this. Hard cover is indestructible. You shoot as many times as you want. It does not get destroyed. Soft cover are buildings. So on and so forth like that. Hard tanks, tanks, dead tanks would be considered hard cover because once they're dead, you can't blow them up anymore. Rocks, so on and so forth. So, you know, hard cover if you can manage it, soft cover if you have nothing else available, and, you know, it's doing the best with what you have, which is, you know, what you guys have heard me say over and over again, and that's all this game is. You know, you're trying to do the best with what you've been given, and, you know, we are currently in this spot. We're doing exactly that. We're trying to get a lot of good shots in on the guys going up the hill there, taking the top of the hill, because, you know, when they pull down to take shots, we can also get shots on them. If you'll notice, every spot on every map has a counter location for it. If you go here, you're fine. You can do everything you want, except if somebody goes here. You know, kind of like a YX type of situation. So you just have to be very cautious, and if you're in a location, you have to know that weak spot's location. And the weak spot's location where I'm currently at is, you know, say F7. If they come out to the edge of the hill there, they can shoot me clean on. Now, of course, granted, that position has its own weaknesses. If they pull out and do that, then the guys spawn camping our cap will fire on them. So it's, you know, you don't want to overanalyze, but at the same time, you want to be aware of where you can get shot from. There's a lot of science involved in this, you know, when to do this, when to do that, so on and so forth. Now, right now, as you see, I am moving out. I went ahead, turned around, dropped the mag, and left. The reason for this, if you are ever moving, you need to be reloading. And most of the time, if you're reloading, you need to be advancing. In this case, we're not really advancing because the front is all around us, you know, so we're just kind of repositioning to where we can get better shots because the shots had kind of dried up over there. So we're going to go over here and just see if we can't you know, get some shots. We fired one right there and we bounced. And guys, I would always recommend aiming in, except, you know, you're in the situation where you're driving at an angle like that, and a lot of times, you know, if you aim in, who knows where the round would go at any rate. So, you know, I knew I had more rounds. I knew that the other guy over here was a one-shot at the very least, or excuse me, at the very most. So it was more or less a tactical decision. And, you know, you're going to have those, or else, you know, guys, if you're just starting out in this tank and you go out there and, you know, you just pull the trigger and hope for the best, that's fine. That's a good way to learn what tanks you can auto-aim on and what tanks you can't. For the people who are experienced, I would recommend, you know, only auto-aim on the sides, rear, so on and so forth, unless it's a very tough tank to pin. You know, you could hit the E3 from the back in certain points and it'll bounce, IS-7. So, you know, sometimes you'll see me auto-aim, sometimes you'll see me scoping everything. And, you know, a lot of times when I'm circle jerking some people, I tend to no-scope and just, you know, let it go from the commander's third-person view. And that's fine as well. So, just to let you guys know, you have those options, and you should just experiment with them and see what works best for you, because it's all about finding your particular mode, your particular zen with this tank. Moving on, you know, the Reds at this point, it doesn't look good for us. Let's just say that. It does not look good for us, and that was the reason that I wanted to post this game for this episode of MapQuest, to show you, you know, how easy you can turn a game like this into a win. And yes, foreshadowing, spoiler alert, whatever you want to call it, yes, we do end up pulling this one off. And, you know, I think the bat chat played a significant role in that, because we were losing, you know, fairly considerably, at least on top of the map right there. Now, tactical awareness, you have to have it in this tank. I noticed the guy was coming up on my map as soon as he appeared, and right now, you know, we don't want to suffer him to live. We want to go ahead and get him right off the board. That way, we move on, we're reloading, we're repositioning, we're doing things. And that's exactly how you want to operate in this tank. You want to always be moving, always be planning exactly what you need to do. You know, if I go over here and I empty my rounds, I empty the clip into this tank, you know, by the time I get reloaded, I want to have emptied the other clip, or I want to be in position where I can empty the other clip. So it's a numbers game, and you always need to be thinking about what you can do to make you more effective with this tank, with any tank. That goes for anything. Now, this guy right here is way too close to me. He can hit me one time and I'll be fine. I can clip him out. And, you know, you never want to rush an autoloader unless he's a one-shot. You rush him, he's a one-shot, you know, most of the time you'll be fine, because autoloaders typically have no armor except for the FOC. Fuck you. Anyway, so that's kind of my thing. If the autoloader's low health, go ahead and rush him, get him off the board. But in that instance, I could take a round, and he made the mistake of getting too close. I see these guys playing, and, you know, they're in these heavy tanks, and they rush a medium, any medium, or God forbid, a bat chat, and they just end up taking them apart. The tank is tough, yes, from the front, but from the sides where you're going to be getting hit, it is not so tough. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you for this edition of MapQuest. I hope you learned something from it. 5,008 damage, 812 assists. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share.